Hi, so I'm joined by Stella Creasy. Hi Stella, how are you?
I'm good, thanks.
And can you tell me a bit about yourself?
Well, I'm now the new Labour and Cooperative MP for Walthamstow. I was elected on May 6th this year, which seems a long time ago now, but this is my home. I've lived in Walthamstow for over a decade now. My family's all here, and I've always been involved in the community here, and also I was a local councillor and the mayor here. And so when Neil Gerrard said he wanted to retire as the MP for Walthamstow, I decided to stand, and that's why I'm absolutely honoured that people in Walthamstow voted for me to be our local MP, because it means it gives me a chance to campaign about the things I really care about, and also with the community I really care about too.
Neil Gerrard was involved sort of with Walthamstow for quite a while. Do you feel like you had sort of big boots to fill?
Neil is a really tough act to follow. He's been a fantastic local MP, and I've been honoured to work with him over the last 10 years as well, and also to be his friend and to learn from him. I mean, we've campaigned together on lots of different issues, whether it's been Walthamstow Dog Track or the EMD Cinema, or also Marsh Lane Footbridge, or also trying to get more school places here, and he's been a really fantastic person to work with. He's really difficult to beat in pub quizzes, so I will give him that.
Oh yeah, I read online that you enjoy your pub quizzes.
Me and Neil, yeah, we're both competitive people, so we both take the MacGuffins film quiz very, very seriously, but I'm pleased to report the last 2 times I've beaten him.
Oh, well done. Good to see another girl winning. So what are the campaigns that you're campaigning for in Walthamstow at the moment?
Well, when I was standing for election, I was very clear with people that I had 2 priorities for the first instance, which was one about our young people. I mean, my background's in youth work. Before I became the MP, I worked for the Scout Association up in Gilwell Park in Chingford, and I've always been involved in youth voluntary organisations here, and I feel really passionately that our young people in Walthamstow need support and they need activities, and we also need to deal with some of the problems around antisocial behaviour that we have and the growing gang culture that we have. So since I've been elected, I've been holding meetings with various youth organisations and also working with the council and also looking to work with the police on what we can do, not just to get our kids off the street, but actually getting them doing things that help them achieve the potential that they have. My second priority is around the regeneration of Walthamstow. I know that we really need to bring more jobs and investment to our town centre. That's why I'm so passionate about the dog track and also about the cinema, because I see both of them as critical projects that will bring jobs and money to our local area, and also mean that all the money that people are spending right now to go out and have a nighttime fun and to go and do leisure activities they're spending outside of the borough, they'll spend here in Walthamstow.
Carrying on with the topic of spending and sort of leisure activities in the borough, I know you've been heavily involved with the MacGuffin Film Society and the sort of not regeneration, but sort of getting the EMD cinema back on track. What's been happening with that?
Well, it's a difficult one because the United Church of the Kingdom of God own the building, and they're very clear that they want to turn it into a church. I think for a number of years, well, I mean, we've been campaigning on this since 2002. I mean, if I go back and there are videos of me when I was the deputy mayor, a much younger person, saying we don't want this to happen. For me, this isn't about the church, it's about that building and about the fact it's the only building I can see in Walthamstow Town Centre that realistically could be a cinema within the next 5 years, and therefore could help us get the evening economy that Walthamstow needs, that would bring the cafes, that would bring the investment that our town centre wants. So I've been working with a number of people, including the local authority, who have actually commissioned a report, which I think is a really good report about what the options are for that building, to look at how we can get that building back, and also how we can work with the church, because realistically they own that building, and I don't want to spend another 8 years campaigning against them. I want to get on and get cinema back, so I'm looking at what I can do now as the MP to push that process along.
And is there anything that the residents or maybe the patients of Whipps Cross could do to get involved?
Well, with both these projects, whether it's the EMD cinema or with the dog track, it's really important that local residents speak up for the kind of town centre and the kind of facilities they want in their local area, and show that there's widespread support for them. So encouraging the local authority to support the fact that actually giving those applications planning permission. I mean, I've been very clear that I think the council should reject planning permission for the UCKG to turn the EMD into a church, and saying, well, no, actually, because we need cinema, we need those kind of facilities in our town centre, and therefore that building's really the only place that could happen. And the same with the dog track, to be saying, actually, we need housing, absolutely, but we also need leisure facilities. And again, the nature of these sites is there aren't that many of them around Walthamstow. So it's one thing for me to say as the MP, but it's also about everyone who's a local resident saying, this is the kind of place we want to live in, and we would really welcome the support. And I think that's a really important point to make. This isn't about getting cross with the council. This is about giving the council the feedback and the information they need about the kind of place we want to live in. And that's why it's important for people to talk with the council and say, well, what options are there? Because, you know, this is a difficult time. There isn't a lot of money around, so we're not talking about them being able to wave a magic wand. And both these sites are owned by private investors, but they can do things around planning, and they need our support and our help to be able to make those decisions.
Walthamstow Dog Stadium, I know you're campaigning for that as well. Do you see it becoming a dog stadium again?
Well, I'm very hopeful that we can get the dog track back, and that also we could get some housing on the site. There's lots of places in the world, in Ireland for example, where you have housing and a dog track together. There are commercial investors interested in buying the track back. It's very clear that London and Quadrant have struggled to do what they wanted to do with the track. Otherwise, by now, they would have started building on it and they would have put in an application. So I'm really hopeful that there is a deal to be done, which everyone wins in, where we get maybe some housing and our dog track back. And what I've been trying to do is encourage London and Quadrant to explore those options and to say, well, actually, how much would it cost for people to get involved in their project? Because we know there are serious commercial businesses with a lot of money who are very clear that they could make money out of returning it into a dog track.
So I hear that you've got the support of London Mayor Boris Johnson with the dog track. I mean, how does that feel? Is that sort of a big achievement?
I think it's great to get the level of support we've got from across different political parties, regionally and nationally, for the idea that actually Walthamstow dog track should be restored. It just shows you how much affection people had for that site and also how much interest there is in what it represents for the future of Walthamstow. I mean, I know that Ian Duncan-Smith and John Cryer are also very supportive of this. So what we're all saying now is to London and Quadrant, look, talk to the investors, see if there's a deal to be done. The local community will be behind you if you do that. The local council will be really supportive of you doing that, and so would national government, and so even with the Mayor of London. And if all those people are saying to you, you know what, you should be talking about these things, that's got to tell you something.
Because of course, no matter what happens, whether it gets turned back into a dog track or they build houses, the front has to stay, doesn't it?
Yeah, the front is listed. It's also by the River Ching, which obviously means that there's a slight flood risk, which influences what you can build on the site. And I think that's one of the challenges for people looking to redevelop the site, is where it is both a blessing because it's got such good transport links, but also causes issues for them. All we want to see is all those people who are interested and passionate about that site and also, frankly, have the money to redevelop it, being able to work with London Quadrant. And that's what we're going to keep lobbying them for.
With the regeneration of Walthamstow, does that involve what are we aiming for?
Well, regeneration is about bringing investment to a local area and bringing jobs and people who want to make this area somewhere where they can do business and also somewhere where they will commit to the area. Because I think that's the thing for all of us is you look at other parts of London where they have local industries, that means that there's jobs on people's doorsteps. And one of the problems we have in Walthamstow is that we have a higher level of child poverty than some other parts of London because we don't have local jobs that fit in with local families. So for me, it's about how can we attract investors to Walthamstow? How can we make Walthamstow somewhere where you want to have your shop or your business? So that it benefits the whole community. So there's a whole range of things we need to do on that. I mean, one, it is about our town centre being somewhere that's buzzing and somewhere that you want to invest and you know that there's going to be people coming to shop and therefore you want to have your business there. It's also about the business space and the conditions that we create for the business. And I think it's really important to acknowledge the role that the local authority is playing in that as well and the support they want to give to that process because they recognise the benefit if we can get people to come and invest in Walthamstow, especially in what's in quite a difficult financial climate.
I did have one question from a resident who lives in Walthamstow, and she wanted to know how can Walthamstow possibly compete as an Olympic borough, and she wants to know why people are going to come to shop in Walthamstow when they're building a brand new Westfield in Stratford.
And I think that's a very fair point. You know, we have to make Walthamstow unique. I don't want us to be trying to be another Stratford or another Wood Green because we've got our own unique resources here. We've got really good transport links. We've got some really lovely open spaces. We've got great community resources, great voluntary organisations, and we've got some really interesting architecture. And we've got a great community here. I mean, a lot of people come to Walthamstow with their families and they commit to staying here. So the question for us is how can we attract the businesses and the jobs that fit in with that rather than trying to repeat what other people do? And your listeners absolutely right to say we don't want to be like other people, we need to find what works for us, and that's the challenge in the next couple of years, and that's what I'm going to work with local businesses on, also with the local council and with local residents, because it has to work for us. I mean, we're the ones who live here.